Okay, guys, welcome to our Slingshot 101. As promised, I will provide response concerning issues of hand slap and fork hit. I know that this topic has been discussed well enough in all Slingshot forums and on all platforms that deal with Slingshot. But anyway, as promised, here is my take, my insight, and hopefully we can simplify the issue and help some new shooters out there that experience these incidents of hand slap and fork it. So let's dive first into the issue of hand slap. For me, hand slap is often associated with the way we set up our slingshot. So it is a setup associated issue, and that involves the proper use of the band, the strength of the band, the thickness of the band that must correspond with the weight of the ammo we use. Because hand slap happens when you are shooting too strong of a band, too light of an ammo. That is why we strongly emphasize the concept of band ammo ratio. The band must be appropriate for the ammo weight you use. If you're shooting too strong of a band, the ammo is too light for that band, guaranteed hand slap. Okay, and also hand slap is often experienced by those shooting OTT, simply because when you're shooting OTT, your band travels over the top, so therefore it retracts clean. It travels over the top clean, it retracts clean. And if with the issue of band ammo ratio is improper, that the band, when it travels with it full of energy, and the band energy and the band doesn't feel the weight of the ammo, it returns with the same energy and it hits you back and it slaps your hands, and that is painful. So in those situations, shooting OTT may experience those hand slap. But assuming that you have exactly the same thickness, the same taper cut, same setup for that OTT setup, and you experience hand slap, but that particular setup, you may not necessarily experience that when you're shooting TTF, simply because in TTF, you shoot through the fork. So the band travels through the fork. And as it travels through the fork, it gets in contact with the frame. So as it travels and gets in contact with the frame, it reduces the energy. So therefore, when it retracts with less energy, and that is the reason you don't necessarily experience hand slap with the same setup that you experience in OTT when you are shooting TTF. So hand slap is always associated with the way we set up our slingshot, with the proper use of band thickness and strength against or corresponding to the weight of the ammo we use. And new shooters experience hand slaps simply because when they get into slingshot, they get so excited, so they want the most powerful, the strongest, fastest slingshot, and that is why they mostly they tend to get the thicker band. But the thicker band does not correspond to the size of the ammo they use, and that is the result. They experience hand slap. Okay, I hope that is clear. It is a setup related issue. Often is a setup related issue. Now let's go with the issue of fork hit. Okay, you may have the perfect band ammo ratio, but for some reason you experience fork hit. By the way, if you experience fork hit, you may possibly or surely to experience hand hit or thumb hit, because fork hit, this kind of an incident, is often associated with the shooting form. It is a shooting form issue. If hand slap is a setup related issue, fork hit, hand hit is a shooting form issue. Okay, and that involves the way you hold your frame, how you hold your frame, how you fold your pouch, how you pinch your pouch, what is the size of the pouch you use. Okay, so those are issues that may contribute into the incident of fork hit. Okay, so when you hold your frame, either you are holding it 90, 45, or upright, when you stretch, when you pull, make sure that you are pulling your band evenly, so that there will be a balance or equal energy generated as you pull your band. And that is settled by the way you hold your frame. You must hold your frame square enough to be able to do that. But if you are not holding your frame square, and there is sometimes you tilt the upper part of the frame, and that is the result. So the result is one of the upper band is generating more energy than the lower band, and that is a tendency when you release your ammo fly high and will hit the frame. And also when you are holding your frame and you are stretching your band, you are stretching it in a way that you tilt forward your frame. You are bringing the band closer to your wrist, and that also will result to the possible wrist hit or fork hit. The way you fold your pouch, you are holding it square, but unknowingly by accident, because some of this actually happens by accident, especially when you're in a hurry to shoot. So you fold your pouch uneven, and that also will result to an even stretch. So the energy generated by the upper and the lower band are not the same, and that will result to a improper flight of your ammo. The way you pinch your pouch with an ammo, because that also may result to a rough release, and rough release is one of the primary reason why your ammo is not flying right. It flies sideways, it flies inside, up or down, that may hit your frame. So smooth release is crucial for you to have a clean and a smooth shot of your slingshot. So those are factors. Another thing that may cause also those possible improper flight of your ammo is the size of the pouch you use. If you're using a pouch that is too small for the ammo, it means your pouch is not enough to contain the ammo, so your ammo has a tendency to play. And when you release it, it has a tendency that the ammo is not centered in the pouch, and that all accident is possible there. So those are the reasons of you going through issues of fork hit and hand hit. It is an issue associated with your shooting form. So hold your frame square enough. Make sure you stretch or you pull your band evenly. Fold your pouch evenly. When you pinch your pouch, make sure that you feel the ammo. Do not, or the case is a situation where some, I noticed, when they pinch it before the ammo. They focus more on the pouch. Yep. So what happened with that and the way you pinch it, which part of your finger it rests. So that is also another matter for you to consider. We have some rough spot in our fingers, or we have some shallow or protruding part of our joints, of our bone joints, and that's the way where it rests. You have to find a comfort where you can release it clean, because if not, the rough release sometimes simply results with the way we position it in our finger. Instead of releasing it clean, when you release it, when the rubber snap and release it, it follows that curve. So instead of releasing it clean, it follows that curve, and that will result in the improper flight of our ammo. So those are the things that you have to consider. Especially smooth release is crucial. And some of the common incident that affects affects fork hit handling is actually an incident related to release. Okay, so those are the things that affect your fork hit. And also, when it comes into fork hit, both shooters, OTT, TTF, may experience fork hit, since it is an issue of improper or an issue relating to shooting form. But if you're shooting TTF, you are much more vulnerable to issues of fork hit, simply because TTF shooting, it travels through the fork. So this is where your ammo travels. It travels inside the fork. When you're shooting OTT, it travels outside the fork. So that's why TTF shooter is much more vulnerable to issues of fork hit, especially when there is something wrong with your form. Okay? So that is those are just factors that contributes to a possible fork hit. So guys, I think we cover much and substantially. I hope that helps. And if you find it insightful, feel free to share. And hopefully we can help new shooters out there to get better into shooting and enjoy slingshot sports as much as I do. So guys, for those who raised this question and asking me to provide this insight, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, God bless.